Hello, guys. All right. So, in this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Screencastify that we learned about in the previous video. I understand that was a real quick video, but it did give you a really good overview of getting started with Screencastify. So, in this lesson, what I'm going to do is I'm going to model a way that you can use this to provide feedback to your students. So the objective is participants will learn how to use Screencastify to record audio feedback for their students. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. I've uploaded this document here. This is an actual piece of work from one of my students here. They were working on solving equations in which you have variables on both sides. Well, this student did a pretty good job of finding the solutions. However, on this particular skill, I am very, very picky because the standard is using properties of equality to find your solution. Well, the student did not use those properties of equality or did not properly show those properties of equality. So I'm going to provide this person with some feedback to hopefully get them to understand how we need to see it. And then I'm going to give them an opportunity to redo so that they can prove to me that they know how to do it from now on. All right, so I've got it all set up. I'm not even going to use any special website or any special um, product or Okay, so I've got this all set up and I'm not even actually going to be using any special software to annotate on this because Screencastify has all those materials there for you. So you don't need to worry about that. You just need to bring up the PDF. You probably want to kind of hone in on it a little bit. So zoom in so that you can get really big and get started with it. Okay. So you're going to start your Screencastify like you were taught in the previous video and just roll with it. So here I am giving the feedback. So here we go. All right. Hey, thank you very much for giving me this feedback on or giving me this information that you have done. Hey, thank you very much for providing me with your work. I love how you showed everything that you did. It gives me an opportunity to peek into your mind on how you go about solving these. And it's great because then I am able to give you specific targeted feedback to help you improve. All right. So, like I said, your work that you provided does indeed find help give you the solution. But in class, I have given you talked to you about a specific way of showing that work so that you can show you are using the properties of equality. Well, yes, you are showing your work, but this doesn't necessarily show me that you are using those properties of equality and understanding that when you use the properties of equality, you have to have a balanced equation. That's the main thing, is you're not really showing that you are balancing your equation. So I'm going to show you how to do that with number 1, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to go back and revise 2, 3, and 4 so that you can submit it and then I can check to make sure you've got it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Number 1, we have negative 2a minus 9 is equal to 6a plus 15. So I'm going to just rewrite it over here. I'm going to just kind of squeeze it in here. Negative 2a minus 9 is equal to 6a plus 15. Now, oh, that's not a very good plus. Now, I'm not really going to talk to you specifically about the steps because you obviously know what you need to do. You know you don't need to do the distributive property. You know you don't need to combine any like terms, but you do know that you need to get variables onto one side. Okay, to do that, you're going to move one of the variables. So usually I recommend moving the smallest of the two. You don't have to. You can use the larger of the two. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to move the smaller of the two. So that would be negative 2a. So what do you need to add to negative 2a to get 0? Well, that would be the opposite, which is positive 2a. So right underneath negative 2a, I'm going to show that I'm going to add 2a to that. Now, keep in mind, I'm using properties of equality, which means I am going to keep both sides balanced. Right now, it's not balanced because I'm doing one thing, or I'm adding 2a to just one side. To balance it out, I got to add 2a to the other side. So I'm going to come over here underneath the 6a. I'm going to write plus 2a. Now I have it balanced. So the purpose in doing all of that is it cancels out my 2a on the left and leaves me with just negative 9. Put my equal sign. I'm putting it right there on that yellow line that I drew because that's kind of the balancing point of the equation. Now over on the right-hand side, I've got 6a plus 2a. 6a over here, 2a over here. Put them together. That gives me 8a. So I'm going to write 8a. Didn't do anything with the plus 15, so I'm going to just bring it on down. Notice how I am doing everything kind of vertically all the way down so that that way it's going to become kind of like a reverse funnel. So everything funnels down into your solution. All right, now I've got a two-step equation. Easy peasy. So remember, we're using reverse order of operations. That means we're going to do the adding, subtracting first. So looking over on the side with my variable, I have 15 added to my variable. So that means I need to add the opposite to get that to equal 0. Well, now I have an unbalanced equation again. So I have to do the same thing to the other side. So minus 15. Purpose in doing that is 15 plus negative 15 gives me 0, and 0 plus 8a leaves me with just, whoops, meant to be in red, leaves me with 8a on the right. Negative 9 minus 15 gives me negative 24. All right, final thing to get my variable all by itself, I need to divide by 8. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the same thing to the other side. Use those properties of equality. Purpose in doing that is it cancels out my 8 because 8 divided by 8 gives me 1, and 1 times a gives me just a. So now I've isolated my variable. And then negative 24 divided by 8 gives me negative 3. Now, I'm not going to do it, but don't forget, go back, plug that variable, plug your solution in for that variable. If you end up with a true statement at the end, you know you've got a good, valid solution, and then you can circle your answer with confidence. Okay? So, like I said, you're going to do 2, 3, and 4, showing the process that I showed you. And then when you come to class, bring it to me. I'll take a look at it and we can go from there. All right. All right, guys. Participants, thank you so much. I hope you found that this example was a very good example for you to use. And I hope you could see how this can be very powerful for your students. So, going forward, what I would like for you to do is to find a document that a student has done that needs some feedback. Go ahead and scan it in as a PDF and then use Screencastify to provide that student with feedback. When you got done with that, save your video and then send it on to me so that I can look and see how you're doing with it. All right? Catch you on the flip side.